Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is be ready for irritation. So I switched insurance companies last summer because I switched jobs, got a different health care coverage. And now, I'm going out to my pharmacy to pick up a prescription. And I'm preparing myself for some problems because it was the same pharmacy that I had with my old medical insurance, and now everything is kind of going through, so I'm assuming that it's going to be difficult, that they're going to say, oh boy, I don't know about this. So I'm preparing myself for some frustration. Now luckily the prescription for me and my daughter isn't like extreme critical nature, but we'd like to get it and be done with it and start making sure things are fine. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking, well, I'll go there and they'll say, ooh, what's going on here with you? Ooh, this is going to be a lot more than you think. Ooh, I don't know if it's even going to be covered. That kind of thing. So I'm preparing myself for some irritation. Now that's not to say you just go through your life expecting that things are going to go wrong all the time. I'm only suggesting that in certain areas of your life, in let's say the normal world, there's going to be a lot of things that aren't quite right, that naturally lead to frustration. Like this, the traffic is backed up, that's going to be frustrating. I'm going to get off the freeway right away. I was assuming that it's going to be rough out there, so I'm going to be ready for it. See, this is how your life can be a lot simpler and less stressful if in a lot of the normal ways that things get all bollocksed up, you expect it. Traffic, freeways, highways, things always get backed up when it rains and poor weather and changes of the scene, the times change when school starts. You have to expect the frustration and irritation at those times so you can deal with it. Don't just stick your head in the sand and assume everything is going to be fine with the world around you. Now again, this isn't an excuse to be negative. It's just a reminder. It's easier to be positive if you know that some things are likely to be difficult and hard to deal with, and irritation, and it's going to take a lot of patience, a lot of understanding. You may have to hold your ground. You may have to go back and forth. I can remember with this pharmacy having to go back and forth to this pharmacy like 3 or 4 times just to get a simple prescription filled. There's just always one mix-up after another. Now, of course, I remember that as being an irritation, but I don't dwell on it. I'm just bringing it up as this is how a lot of things in the world go. Just because you are trying to vibrate at a higher level and manifest a better life and be happier, be a happier man, doesn't mean everybody else is. Everybody else is kind of at a lower level, and they're not able to just always bend to your will immediately. Now they will bend to your will eventually, but let's say immediately you may have to put up with poor service. People may not jump to your whims. You get what I mean? You have to be willing to be patient. To get your way, sometimes you have to, and get what you need and get your desires met. There's a certain amount of patience in there, and that's where sometimes you go wrong. Is just because you don't get it today doesn't mean you won't get it tomorrow, right? Let's say anything like this weather is causing traffic backups. This weather will cause people will be crabbier, right? So you just expect a certain amount of frustration, expect a certain amount of ineptitude amongst others. I mean, you're not good at everything, are you? Yeah. So you may be great at the things you do at. You may be exceptional. Like, I'm certainly exceptional at a few of the things that I'm good at, but the things that I'm not good at, well, I'm not going to be that great at. I'm going to be slow. It's going to be hard for me to do. I won't want to do it. For example, my brother is a carpenter, so he can do the carpentry, and physical work like that is his nature, and he's very, very good at it. I am not, so I can, let's say, help him on certain things. But let's say if I have to work all day at a physical job, man, I'm not going to be able to handle that. I just can't do it. He would have to expect that I'm not able to contribute at a high level like he is, right? Just as I have to expect that some people where I work aren't going to be able to work at that kind of a high level. They don't have the capacity. Maybe they don't have the capacity now. It'll take them more time, or they just don't have the capacity in general. You got to expect that. You got to expect some frustration and irritation in the normal dealings of life. I said, now I'm almost to the pharmacy. I'm kind of bracing myself for some trouble that I'm expecting that I'll go and there'll be some botch up. And actually the internet, it doesn't really help all this stuff all that much. I mean, sometimes things are more seamless, but sometimes there's like an extreme problem. So that's, you got to expect with the internet that it isn't always going to work just right. The maps on your phone might not work, and you might get lost. You got to expect you ought to have some maps. You ought to have a good idea where you are. You ought to be able to go ask somebody, where am I? What should I do? Kind of go back to the normal things. You might need like a real person to help you at times. So anyway, give that idea some thought. Expect some irritation.